Growing up, I lived in a family where my mom, she had a really good green thumb. Does anyone have a green thumb in this house, in the church? My mom was constantly tending and caring for her houseplants. She loved houseplants. Our entire family room was so overfull of all of these plants that I remember telling her it looked like a jungle, a real jungle. And I hated it, okay? Plants were everywhere, okay? And it amazed me how, when she got a plant or someone gave her a plant for her birthday or Mother's Day, she never, ever threw it out. She always kind of took care of it. Even when it was kind of sickly and looked like it was going to be dead, she always gave them a second chance. Like one of my favorite plants, I don't know if you've heard of this plant, it's called a phalaenopsis. It's an orchid that looks like a butterfly. It's my absolute favorite. And I love to paint it. Everyone knows I'm an artist, so I like painting this particular orchid. It's so beautiful. And I do that because I can never keep the real one alive, okay? I buy these plants, these orchids, you can buy them at Jewel or the grocery store, and they can bloom for 2 months. They're so beautiful. And they're really worth to buy because they bloom so long. But then after they stop flowering, there are only the stems and they're really ugly leaves. So I just toss them out, okay? And at that point, to me, they're like kind of good for nothing, right? But one day my mom, she came to my rectory and she saw that I was throwing my old orchid plants out. She almost had a coronary, okay? She couldn't take it. She took them from me and took them to her home. And then guess what happened next, okay? About, a year later, I was wondering about those orchids, and I went to her house, and the orchid, she showed me in the corner of her jungle, okay, that there was these orchid plants that were thriving and having buds and blooming, okay? Now she said that she didn't mind when they were flowerless because she knew that those plants had potential. She gave them, those dead-looking plants, seemingly, a second chance in life. And that experience of my mom really reminds me of this gospel we have today. Jesus tells at the end of the gospel this parable of the fig tree in the orchard. And the owner there was in search of fruits, and he found none. And telling the gardener that he had been looking for the fruit for 3 years and found none, he wanted to just cut that fig tree down. And then the gardener says to him, Sir, leave it for this year also. Leave it for this year also, and I shall cultivate the ground around it and fertilize it. It may bear fruit in the future. St. Mary, the fig tree and that orchid plant that I had is us, just like us. Lent is a time to really look at us, our lives, and if we're bearing much fruit, or if we're bearing any fruit at all. Look what is important to you, okay? I want you to think about that. What is important to you? Is it money? Is it power? Is it selfish pursuits? Do you focus on yourself only? Or are you doing things that help God? Are you doing things that help other people? Are you helpful to your family? Or just kind of going along, kind of just not doing much? Or are you even going the opposite? You're harping on things that you see wrong all the time and tearing your family apart. Are you doing that? How are your relationships in your life? This is the time, Lent is the time to really reassess what you're doing. The Lord God is looking at you right now, St. Mary, with so much love. Just like he looked at that fig tree, right? He sees so much potential in you and in your life. Living here in Mokena, we're filled with so many advantages, so much potential. We can make this world a better place. And God, he will be a just judge at the end of our lives. He will look at our lives at the last judgment. He will decide whether we should enter, right, the gates of heaven or not, right? It's up to us and what we're doing in our life to convert ourselves, to help, right? If we take care of our lives, if we cultivate our lives, especially our spiritual lives, we grow in our faith, right? And we do this by studying, right? Studying the scriptures, going to church, receiving the sacraments, especially the Holy Eucharist, okay? And of course, receiving the sacrament of reconciliation. This is how we take care of our lives as good Christians. And if we do this, if we fertilize our souls by doing all these things, growing in our relationship with God and our neighbors, okay, we will bear great fruit. We will bear great fruit. It will be grace upon grace, all right, will be given to us, overflowing. If we cultivate the soil of our lives by looking at all of these influences that we have in our life, our culture, right, our habits, the company we keep, what we're looking at on the internet, you know, those are the things we have to look at, those influences, right? And we need to root out all the bad stuff that is influencing your life. Root all that out, you know, turn to Jesus, cling to Jesus. If we care for our souls, like how my mom cared for that orchid plant, you know, in the future, you will see what will happen. You will see wonderful things that could happen. Taste and see, the goodness of the Lord. Oh, taste and see, the goodness of the Lord.